Adam, can you introduce?
Yeah. Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Our Oilers podcast number 65. Welcome to the Teninchcock era, I think is what I named it. Um, you have me, Sweet44722 on Reddit, and also with me today I have Arun, Thomas, otherwise known as Arunatic5, and James, otherwise known as Paul Dash McCartney Dash. Uh, been a little bit since we've done one of these. We've been on the in and out of stuff. I've been traveling a lot, is the easiest way to put it. And starting us right off, we had a pretty dramatic shift after literally the day after our podcast, which I'll remind you guys as I called. Not in the best way. I didn't actually know what happened, but Todd McClellan has been fired, and Ken Hitchcock was hired to replace him. Arun, we'll start with you. What do you make of it? Do you think Ken Hitchcock was the right choice? Was it T-Mac's time to go? We've had a pretty dramatic turnaround since then. I think we're, what, 7-2-1?
6, 2, and
Six,
1.
two, and one.
At least 2-1. So, yeah.
Um, Honestly, I just think that, like, based upon the way that season started, this season started rather, uh, there's a lot of potential in this team to do well. And they were doing well during an extremely challenging schedule. They were just really, really like turning it on. They were winning games that you wouldn't expect them to be winning. It was all going right. And then it all went wrong. And perhaps this might be a situation of the coach losing the room. Perhaps it might be, some other kind of circumstance that we hadn't really thought of. And in essence, all this has happened is the equivalent of changing your goalie in the middle of a game, right? Where I don't think a lot has changed about the way that the Oilers play. It's just they went from being not very motivated, no, very motivated to not very motivated, back to very motivated. Um, there's still a lot of, I don't think very many players are playing any better outside of perhaps Puljujarvi. Um, and Clefbaum, like, it just is like a whole bunch of different players that were facing bad puck luck or are getting good puck luck now. Like, even Talbot, I think, is getting to see the puck a little bit better. And perhaps that might be a change in the defensive structure, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Clefbaum as well, everything's starting to go in for him. Like, if you have him available for fantasy hockey, pick him up. He's on fucking fire right now. Uh,
Mm,
and Yeah, that's like my big contributors. I really don't. I know it's wrong. It feels almost wrong for me to say it, but I really don't think Ken Hitchcock was the biggest reason why we're doing so great. I just think it's just because we made the change why we're doing so much better. James?
I mean, I think we all felt it coming. I think before McClellan was fired, I saw Mark Savard tweet, like, um, hurry up and do it already, Edmonton. We've seen this before. I've seen this 100 times throughout my career. He's lost the room, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we all knew it was coming.
yeah.
But as far as his replacement as being Ken Hitchcock, I mean, I was honestly surprised. I don't think that traditionally his style of play really lends itself to McDavid's style of play, or his style of coaching lends itself to McDavid's style of play. So I was surprised with that, but I mean, you can't argue with the results. 6-2-1 since the change, and actually, like Arun said, no one is actually like standing out as becoming greater than what they are all of a sudden. Like, I'm still impressed with the same people. I'm still not impressed with the same people. It's just I have no idea what exactly changed, but we all knew it was coming. So
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting too, the Clefbaum thing is that Arun actually mentioned, watch him over the next couple of weeks. He's going to explode, and he has. He's gotten 2 game-winning goals and 4 goals in the last 5 games, and a bunch of assists. Like, he started to put puck in the net now. He's playing well, and now it's showing up on the stat sheet. Um, I don't know if it might be part of it is if you guys would look at the lineup changes Hitchcock has made. Obviously Hitchcock is well known for being one of the best defensive coaches in the NHL in the last 30, 40, 50 years. We went from McClellan's, I don't want to say running gun because it wasn't quite run and gun, but a less defensively formed squad to McClellan's very rigid, very defensive team. But he's also modified the lineup where now Lucic is playing third line, has told him not to worry about, scoring, just play the game you play. We've seen Sekera play with Nuge yesterday and play well, pick up 2 points. And then obviously you see the goaltenders are playing much better now as they have a bit more defensive support. Do you think that's all the reason? Like, again, like is a result of kind of Hitchcock's changing in the system? Is it players buying in, or is that more just change of coaching adaptation kind of thing?
I think I'm going to jump in on this one. I think a huge part of it is one of the things that we did complain to McClellan. I'll complain about McClellan in that, sometimes there is an obvious move available, and McClellan, for the future of the team and like for other considerations, won't make the most obvious move. We'll try to make a move around that so that, he can get a best of both worlds, where in case that move doesn't work, there's a backup kind of thing. That's why, you're taking Lucic and you're throwing him on the first or second line. It's not because, he can't find the back of the net. It's because, still his Corsi relative is positive, right? If you have him in the offensive zone, he's still able to assist in the cycling. It's just, if you have him in the offensive zone, it's very unlikely for it to end up in the back of the net. And that was the big problem that people were having with Lucic, right? And essentially all that Hitchcock, in my opinion, has really done is do the most obvious moves. When he started off, it was really obvious that Koskinen was playing better than Talbot. Koskinen gets most of the starts. When he started off, it was really obvious that Lucic can't score. Lucic is playing third line minutes. When he was continuing on, it became more and more obvious that this team lives and breathes by McDavid. McDavid is playing almost 25 minutes a night now. That's even more than with Todd McClellan. And that was a complaint we had about Todd McClellan playing McDavid too many minutes. And it's just, you just put them all together, and it just is, it perhaps is something that will work in the short term, but I have a strong feeling that if an injury or some kind of stumbling block happens, this is going to collapse like a house of cards.
Well,
James? Sorry, I might be super pessimistic about this, but I really, outside of the fact that we're winning, and I'm happy we're winning, and I want to be wrong, I just really feel as though there's something very delicate about what's happening here, and it's not really being worked around.
That there's someone like McDavid, I feel like you can ride him 25 minutes a night. I feel like he can do that. I don't know if he can do it the whole season, but I mean, if they secure a playoff spot with a few weeks left, or if they're out of the playoffs with a few weeks left, I mean, he's not going to be playing those minutes anyway. Then things like the Talbot and Koskinen thing that you had mentioned, do you think are they showcasing one of them for a trade, do you think, or you think they have two good goalies at this point?
I just think that they're using Koskinen until Talbot becomes hot again. I just think that's it. And right now Talbot's hot again, so use Talbot. Now, it's like the old school coaching move, right? You go with the hot hand. McClellan shows preference to who he believes is the starting goaltender, because he's of the opinion that sometimes for a goaltender to do well again, you have to build his confidence up by giving him opportunities. Even when he's not playing well, you're towing him the confidence of the doubt, the benefit of the doubt, and saying you know what? Even if you're not playing well, you are the starting goaltender. That's what happened with Braden Holtby last season, not this season. Last season, he was not playing well at all. Grubauer was definitely the better goaltender. He still got all the starts, and in the end, he won the Stanley Cup.
Now, moving off, not a related topic, but moving away from that particular roster is, I know what all of us were concerned about, many people were concerned about, is that if Chiarelli fired McClellan, it would be a save my own ass kind of thing. Salvage the season, save my own ass. But something interesting happened when Hitchcock was hired, is that there was a bunch of reports that came out that said they were looking for a short-term coach only. And Ken Hitchcock was one of the few that was willing to do short term just this season before discussing further options. Now Ken Hitchcock, 66, he's retired once already. He did say he retired from coaching. Obviously, that's changed. But do you guys share the sentiment that you're a little bit worried Chiarelli may have potentially saved his job if we make the playoffs this year? Or is it maybe just a kind of, salvage this season and then
Well, I mean, if we make the playoffs, then we should be happy, right? Then
right, but
we really need to be.
If we make the playoffs, the expectation is we're paying $6 million for a guy that will get 17 points this season. We have another 5 more seasons of paying him $6 million. And the guy responsible for handing out the worst contract in the league is not going to be fired.
Yeah,
But if we make the playoffs.
If we make the playoffs.
If we make the playoffs, we make the playoffs.
If we don't make the playoffs, Chiarelli's gone. I'd imagine. Now, if we make the playoffs, I really hope it doesn't save Chiarelli's career with the Oilers because at this point he needs to go.
He needs to go.
At the same time, I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be one of those situations where, you made the right hire mid-season. This clearly is like the best way to go about it. So,
That's an interesting thought. I hadn't really considered that. Like, if Hitchcock stays for the one season and then they hire someone else, it almost feels like giving Chiarelli a buffer zone with the coaching buffer zone of sorts. I never really thought about that, but I can see that being the case. 100%, I could. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, like I'm looking at the $6 million man in Lucic, and I see first season with the Oilers 50 points, second season with the Oilers 34 points, and now third season with the Oilers 17 points. If we keep going this way, we're expecting 0 points by the end of its last year.
Now,
I imagine I'm hoping for some sort of compliance buyout with the next lockout. We all know that's coming.
Yeah. So the interesting thing to me, though, if you look at it, if he picked up Ken Hitchcock, it seems like he's not entirely willing to work more than just this season. Maybe Chiarelli's been instructed by higher up to do that in the sense that they're going to reevaluate where they're at the end of the season, and then if they bring in a new GM, the GM is the option to hire the coach they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still feel like Glenn Gulletson is the next head coach, but
which I definitely don't want. Stick throwing will be through the roof, but Glenn Gulletson was fired from Calgary for a good reason.
Mind you, Glenn Gulletson did not have the offensive depth that Bill Peters has right now. And honestly, in Bill Peters' career, this is like the second or third time he's ever had this much offensive depth.
Calgary's a good team, man.
They are.
Like,
yeah,
they got a good forward group, great defense.
That's we're gonna beat them.
You know they only have 3 more wins on us, eh?
Yeah.
In a 7-game series, I feel like they would just fucking spank us, but who knows?
I mean, tomorrow they don't have Giordano, so that should help.
Yeah, that's true. Giordano and there's someone else missing from that roster, I think.
Well,
is it Goudreau?
No. I don't think so.
Someone else missing from that roster.
All right. So
not for 2 games. I think it's one player who went for a fight near the end of the game.
That was
suspension.
Yeah, he won't. He's a 4th-line grinder. Moving on a little bit. So we saw one of the first changes to the roster we saw was the recall of Jesse Puljujarvi from Bakersfield. Ken Hitchcock came out in a press conference saying that he wanted to be personally responsible for Puljujarvi's development, and he didn't feel he could sufficiently watch him in the AHL. First game back, he scored a goal, and since then he's been playing with Nugent Hopkins and I believe it was Puljujarvi last night. And he's generally been on the 2nd or 3rd line in the last couple of games. What do you guys make of his improved play? Is he passing the eye test to you guys? Is he doing well? Do you think he should still be in the minors for a little bit? And for those who are wondering, Kyle Yamamoto has 4 points in 7 games, but picked up a day-to-day injury this week, so he's currently on the bench waiting to get healed up again.
Puljujarvi passes no tests for me. He does not pass the eye test. He does not pass the stat test. I don't even know what his advanced stats look like, but he does not pass the eye test for me. And I don't know, man. He is 6'4" and he plays like he's 5'8". It drives me up the fucking wall with that.
No. Sorry, I'm looking up some numbers here, so I'm not talking out of my ass. Not to say that you are, because I do agree with you. I don't really think much has changed with Puljujarvi. I do fundamentally believe it is a Puljujarvi problem.
Yeah.
I will say it's worth noting that he seems to be going into that more involved in scoring plays, but he's not picking up points. But at the same time, Nugent Hopkins is playing so well right now that I think anyone playing with him is going to be looking good.
Mm-hmm. And can we really talk about how fucking good Nugent Hopkins is playing right now?
What's really pissed me off is how much Hockey Night in Canada has been shitting on him every time they talk to him. Oh, he's a third line center. He's not producing points. Blah blah. He is fucking carrying the team's defensive weights while producing points, as many points as he ever has in his career. He is unfucking real right now, and he's not getting the recognition he deserves.
No, he's unbelievable.
He's a player for me that needs to get a long-term, another big not big, but long-term contract when that comes around.
Mm-hmm.
His Corsi relative, Puljujarvi, is negative 3.7. Offensive zone starts about 54%. I mean, he's getting pretty. PDO is 96. Oh God.
Yeah, so that should produce more goals. But yeah, it's
PDO is more influenced by shooting percentage than save percentage, but that also indicates that he doesn't his team. The team just doesn't score when he's on the ice.
Yeah.
I think he was he +2 yesterday? I hate the plus-minus stat. You guys know that, but kind of curious what he was last night. So I know there's
plus-minus stats, except when you need to use it to prove a point.
That's plus
stats
minus
warrior.
That's plus minus in a nutshell right there.
-5.
What was he last night though?
I don't know. With Puljujarvi, I agree with James. Nothing's really changed. Even his minutes is it's up. But I feel as though whenever he has the puck in the offensive zone, we're gonna lose it. I feel as though whenever we have the puck and then he has the puck in the neutral zone, it's gonna be a turnover. I feel as though whenever he has the puck, it's a bad situation for the Oilers. That
it drives me crazy because like I said, he's 6'4". He skates well. It's not like he's slow. Before he got to the Oilers, he was a great playmaker. He was better than Laine at the World Juniors that year that Finland won gold. And it's just
he was player of the tournament.
Yeah, he was MVP. He scored over 2 points a game. And it's what the fuck happened, man?
Now what people are suggesting is that he was basically carried by Sebastian Aho, who is lighting it up in Carolina right now.
Sebastian Aho is the offense in Carolina.
He is the entirety of it. It's amazing how that team went from, we have a lot of players that could produce, but we don't have a backbreaker number one, to we have a backbreaker number one, but nothing else.
Oh God, Jeff Skinner is just killing it right now, and Carolina.
What a great trade that turned out to be, eh?
Yeah.
And also losing Lindholm. You upgraded Dougie Hamilton, but Dougie Hamilton is still a defenseman, and your forwards will score more than defensemen.
Yeah. It's just Carolina didn't make a lot of sense with that one. Yeah. All right. So obviously, Puljujarvi not exceeding expectations at the moment. Yeah.
What would you do then, James? Would you send him down to the minors? What do you do at this point? Because this is this is like Nurse, where we're wondering are we looking at the final product, and we're not even sure. We're constantly making the words he's only 20, he's only 21, and we're doing that except plus 1 year every year. Eventually, at some point, we have to stop when we're going he's only 30.
I don't know. I think expectations just need to be scaled back for Puljujarvi. This is not necessarily a situation where we dump him and be done with him, but expectations I think do need to be scaled back. I think he will be signed to a bridge deal this summer, similar to what happened to Yakupov. And if he tops out as like a 25-point defensive winger, then so be it. But I'm not ready to trade him yet, per se, because his value is shit. Like, he hasn't played well. But I honestly do think expectations need to be scaled back. When he was drafted to be like a power forward winger, 30 goals, 30 assists, and like that's not happening. That is not happening. I think 30 points will even be a stretch at his peak. So expectations need to be dialed back.
Like I'm just like looking at this team and like I keep telling you guys that like really nothing's really changed, and honestly the only difference is between when we first talked about the team and when we're talking about the team now is that Kyra has more points. That's it.
Kara's finally started actually playing well.
The top three in terms of offensive producers are still McDavid, then Draisaitl, then Nugent Hopkins, and then fourth is our best defenseman in Clefbaum, and between those two is a 11-point drop-off from 26 to 15, and then the next best is Chiasson at 14. Then you get Kyra at 10.
And he's got 12 goals. Chiasson's got 12 goals in 2 assists.
Kyra and Kajula are at 10, and Kajula's injured. I'm pretty sure it's a long-term injury too, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. It is.
Yeah, he's gone long-term.
All right, sorry.
Nurse got worse. Actually, I agree that I 100% say that Nurse got worse. And I don't know, like Ty Ratty even like isn't doing too hot right now, and he started off the season fairly okay.
Well, on another note there, with changes in roster, we obviously picked up Spooner for Strome 1-for-1, with some salary retained, so it was an even trade.
We did talk about it last podcast.
We did. Obviously, it's been a few more games since. Ryan Strome is actually not playing half bad, which is the most Oilers thing ever. Ryan Spooner's got, what, 1 goal, I think?
No, Ryan Spooner's doing pretty well right now, if I remember correct. Oh, no, not 1 goal. 1 goal. You're right.
Yeah.
He's got 1 goal in 10 games.
How's Strome doing? I didn't get a chance to look at his stats yet.
Strome's doing way better.
He got traded to the Rangers, obviously. As
he has
far
7
as where
points in 9 games.
He's got 5 points in 9 games, though.
5 points?
That's fucking good.
Yeah, 5 points in 9 games.
0.5 points per game. Now, I mean, I haven't really been able to watch too many of the games with being on the road for the last month and a half. Has Spooner played well, you guys think, or is this kind of one of those, had to make it trades that we could lose or not, and currently we're losing it?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to interrupt on something here. This, like, we could lose it or not kind of shit. If you looked at the underlying numbers in terms of what's going on with Strome's situation and what's going on with fucking Ryan Spooner's situation, like, any person that has enough of an analytical ability would easily tell you that Spooner shouldn't be the one to break out. It'll be Strome to be the one to break out, because all of Strome's underlying numbers are in great position. That, like, bullshit attitude of, like, oh, like, it could have gone either way. It's like, no, really, it's like a 70-30 split.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
So I'm done raging. James.
I'll be back.
Okay, he will be back.
All right.
I forgot the question.
No, and you know what? I think that's fair, because we all looked at it and we went, why the fuck are we doing this? The one thing.
Okay, one thing that I will talk about, like, honestly, is a positive to Spooner, is that his Corsi relative when he's on even strength is plus 7.5, which is fairly good. It's actually the top on the team among players that have played at least 10 games. And, not only just 10 games, but, like, it's currently playing on the team as well. Outside of Zykov, who's playing really well. Honestly, he's done better than I expected.
Zykov played his first game last night.
Yeah, and I just he has actually like his what's that, offensive zone starts isn't dramatically high either. It's hold on, I'm looking at this real time here.
He is a fast player.
53% for offensive zone starts, 48% for defensive zone starts. So it's not as if his zone starts are skewing that Corsi relative to be positive. Perhaps his line mates being so good offensively is what's skewing it to be positive, but that positive, I don't know. But the big number and the tell-all number in all of this is the PDO. We complained about Jesse's PDO with like 91 or 90, I don't know, 95,
96.
I think.
96.
96. Spooner's is at 90.
Yeah, so that'll improve dramatically. That's actually pretty much as low as you can go.
Not only that, his save, like the save percentage you're expecting when Spooner's on the ice is 88.1, which is worst on the team outside of Chris Weidman.
Mm-hmm. I forgot
Also,
we had
Jesus
Weidman.
Christ, how many games has Chris Weidman played?
3, I think. Not a lot. We have so many like.
I'm looking at his
players that
stats and
aren't
I'm
playing
like
right now.
appalled right now. It's like only 2 games registered so far, but a Corsi relative of -15.
Yeah, he's not great. He's not great. I could have told you that.
Say.
Ryan Spooner to me, first off, is incredibly fast, way faster than Strome. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. It was one of those trades that and I'm gonna mention something that I think something that pisses me off, but also kind of is endearing with the Oilers fan base, is they will turn anything into a positive and anything into a negative. And so when things are going to shit, and Ryan Strome was traded for Ryan Spooner, everyone went, yes, we're going to play who can score. He has more points in less games. He's really good. He's offensive. He's fast. He'll be a great compliment for McDavid. And then you look at the stats, you go, why in the flying fuck do we do that? And it's just this dramatic
Let's
split.
be honest here. In the base stats, it was a good trade. They're both struggling players.
Sure. No, sorry. What I meant is advanced stats.
Fast.
Like in the advanced stats, like it doesn't. And there's a split between the traditional and the analytics. It's worth noting, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, Ken Hitchcock has started looking at analytics. He said he's changed his coaching style. He still needs everyone to buy in. It's not going to be comfortable, but that he's actually looking at analytics more, which is a breath of fresh air. Because it seems like
that's a
everybody
huge
in the Oilers
reason
organization.
why Dallas collapsed themselves from like top of the Central to out of the playoffs in his last year of coaching.
That and injuries and lack of defensive depth. They had no defense outside of Klingberg.
Sort of like Lefbaum.
Yeah, I mean we have Larson's okay defensively, and yeah, that's pretty much it though. So I guess it's
No,
not
honestly, I think Larson gets a really bad rap. I'm interrupting you. I apologize. I think Larson gets a really bad rap, but I think a huge part of what Clefbaum's doing really well right now is because Larson's covering for him.
It reminds me a little bit of watching, to a lesser extent, watching Carlson and Mathot. Carlson is the showier player, puts up points, is the better player. Mark Mathot was the defensive rock you relied on. You cannot have an offensive defenseman play their game to that extent without defensive drawbacks, which you need someone to cover them on. Adam Larsson is the quiet, stalwart defenseman in the back that isn't going to put up a lot of points, that isn't going to be dramatic, but is always going to be there to make the safe play. Now it's also worth noting, while James is still MIA, Evan Bouchard is playing insanely well in the OHL, and it's a really encouraging sign that he went back to the OHL. To be fair, he's on a London Knights team that's absolutely stacked. Like, that team's gonna win the World Cup. Like there's no question. They're just gonna run the league. It's fucked.
Yeah.
But
which team?
We're just talking about our defensive depth for the future. Talking about how good Evan Bouchard's doing right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's just so so he's playing that team and he's dominating on a team that's already dominating as it is. But the nice thing is that he's putting up points on a team where there's so much offensive talent that he could easily be overshadowed by other players. I think he's got 11 points. He's played 11 games and he's got 7 points, something like that.
Oh no, dude! You wish. He's played 12 games. He has 17 points.
That's it. Yeah, he's just like he's. I think he's said he has the most points for anyone that's played under 20 games right now.
Okay.
He's playing well.
Yeah, who else besides Bouchard had you touched on?
We mentioned that Clefbaum is playing quite well. We were talking about the Strome for Spooner straight up, and then we moved on to defensive defenseman and how Larson is actually he's been defensive stalwart that Clefbaum's needed to have his mini breakout right now, and I compared him a little bit to Carlson Methot, and the fact that Carlson's to show your players could put up points playing well. Methot is going to be the stalwart, the defenseman. You don't really see much, makes the safe play, but allows the other player to be an offensive talent. And I think we've seen that with this Clefbaum breakout, is that Larson is, again, in the shadows, not really doing a whole lot, not playing a lot, not getting a lot of recognition, but still, well, he's playing a lot, but he's being that defensive rock that we need.
And I think it's actually showing in Nurse's play, because Nurse is losing that level of reliability that he had to pinch every now and then, to take that risk. Because the problem with Russell is that Russell is fairly good in his own zone. It's just in the transition, either down or up, it never goes well.
It's kind of actually I'm trying to think of who it reminds me of. I want to say Puljujarvi in the sense that he's in position, but then he gets the puck and in one area of the ice, and you're just like, he doesn't know what to do with it. So either he throws it off the boards or gives it away, and you're like, all right, well, the first half of that was great, but we need to work on everything the moment you get the puck.
Yeah.
Because Chris Russell's basically a goaltender with the puck, but then he gets the puck and he turns into a goaltender handling the puck.
Yeah, I know. And then for the defenseman, usually it's a risk to pinch, but against Russell, it's really not a risk to pinch. Because I always wonder what's going on with Russell. Because I swear to God, when he's clearing the zone, it always feels as though it's a little bit weaker than it should be to clear the zone. I don't know. I'm crazy right now.
I will also say, to Chia's credit, I severely overestimated how bad Russell would be. He's been pretty consistent. Again, the contract isn't great. The fact that being on TC isn't great, and we discussed this, but
nah, I'm with you there.
He's played well enough that he would have got a 20, and I honestly didn't expect that.
Hey, you'll throw me one.
Nah, bro.
All right, so on the topic of our defensive problems and whatnot, what do you guys think is going to go on with Sekera then this year? Because we're expecting him back some point, and we do need to expect him to play, and that will fuck with our cap a little bit.
Yeah, I think that Sekera will probably be a third pairing defenseman for the rest of this year. The top four, I don't see him displacing anyone because he's not similar to Nurse, but Russell is a good counter to Nurse, and he's not good enough anymore, I would probably say, to be on the top pair. So the only place for him would be on the third pairing with Benning or Gravel or Garrison or Weidman. Crap, I forgot we traded
all
for
of these
him.
Players are going to make us play worse.
Yeah.
He needs someone reliable to play with, especially when you come back from an injury like that, after back-to-back injuries like that, and also being the fact that you're not a huge defensive stalwart to begin with. You need someone reliable, and none of those are I would not be confident in any of them.
He hasn't played NHL hockey.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Adam? You were just lagging a little bit.
He hasn't played NHL hockey in nearly a calendar year.
Yeah.
And concerning thing for me is Andre Sekera's not a young man. He's 31.
He's 32, I think.
32.
He's a year older than me, I think.
So
congratulations on 31.
He went from an ACL surgery, which is hard enough to come back from, to then blowing his Achilles, which Carlson, after having his Achilles cut, he still claims he's not back to 100%. Which is Eric Carlson, so you can say whatever. But it's been 5 years since that injury. And with Carlson happened when he was young. so it's one of those things where he's never going to be the same player he was. He just isn't. And the concerning thing is that Sekera's biggest part of his game, we've mentioned in the past, is his skating and his ability to get out of trouble with his skating. So if you stick him back in the third pairing, he doesn't have to skate as much, which is fine. He can rely more on his passing. He still is a very good passer. But then you also have a defenseman with him who is probably not great. Like, our best defenseman third pairing right now has been maybe Matt. Well, I wouldn't even say Matt Benning. Like, maybe Gravel lately. Well, I mean, like, yeah, none of them have been stellar. So then you're pairing a guy coming back from a calendar year off in the NHL, who will have to see where he's at with his game, because he'll be not at game speed. He won't know 100% what he can do in a game yet until he actually plays, and how well he can adapt to situations with his new leg and everything going on with his skating. And then you have to contend with someone who is definitely not good enough to be playing with you.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit worried. We're going to see Sekera, fail miserably.
Well, I just think, like, who is the best person to put with him out of everyone else that could go on that third pairing? Who is the best that could go with him? And
Caleb Jones. Like,
I don't know. Whenever Benning has the puck, I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah. Okay, I've always told you this, but I've always universally been shitting my pants. There's a lot of
There's like Taylor Hall that will produce at a point per game, or just under it.
Apologies, everyone. We just had a quick drop. We should be back to live. Continue.
So what if we missed anything? I think we're talking about the best player to pair with Sekera.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mentioned Caleb Jones because he's the only one I can think of that's a good enough skater while being defensive reliably to play that pairing with him right now. I mean, we were talking about Matt Benning, and he's an enigma to me for Oilers fans because he's so well loved while being so terrible, and you have players like Taylor Hall that were so good and are just running out of town because they didn't play the right way, or they didn't, they weren't the player, this golden god that they wanted them to be. It's a weird thing for me with Oilers fans, but in terms of who will be paired with, I imagine it'll be Matt Benning, just because Benning has a better skating ability than the other guys currently on our seventh defenseman area, and we'll need that for Sekera. And Sekera can still pass well enough that he might be able to fix Benning's issues, but then again, I don't really know. It's a tough choice. Who would you guys go with?
Out of everyone that we had to pick right now, I'm trying to think of the most stay-at-home guy. It'd probably be Gravel, but
yeah,
take your pick. I mean, Gravel is what? He's the next. God, who's that guy that they bought out?
Mark Fane?
No, the other guy. He came from Ottawa. He really likes hunting.
Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman's ass.
No,
right
Graba.
He really likes hunting.
Graba.
Eric Graba. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just taking old Ottawa defensemen over the hill that eventually will retire. Like we did it with Graba. We've done that with Weidman. Weidman, I think, was part of that scandal, the Uber scandal. So I don't know if that's how much that impact had on it, but
who knows? All right, moving on. We might see him this year. We probably will, but who knows who he's going to be paired with? Like, honestly.
Yep. I mean, yeah. I just, for the guy's sake, I hope he's able to at least play relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I can't imagine being an athlete going through that and then being so bad that you consider retiring after like a half season.
Yeah.
All right. So, Team Canada released their roster for the World Junior Training Camp. What are your expectations for the team this year? And worth noting that Edmonton and Red Deer were announced as the 2021 World Junior Hockey Championships hosts.
Happy they're the hosts. Pops that.
My expectations for the team this year are gold.
Yep.
That is the expectation. That doesn't change.
Should be every year.
Yeah, gold is the expectation, and I think it's attainable. Like, I look at their roster this year, and I think they got a good team. Like, I think that they're going to have a good team this year. Lots of skilled players from the 2017 draft. Of note, obviously, Evan Bouchard, Oilers prospect, got invited. He will be on the team. I would bet a testicle on it. He'll be on the team. He'll probably, like, I don't think that he'll wear a letter, or he might not wear a letter. He won't be the captain. He's not a returning player, but he could be wearing a letter, I would say. Him and Noah Dobson would probably be the top pairing. And on the back end as well, I could also see Ty Smith will be on the team as well. He's a New Jersey draft pick from this year. He's amazing. And goalies, Mike DiPietro, who is a Vancouver draft pick from 2017. He'll be the starter. And then as far as the backup, I'm not really sure.
I'm gonna be talking about the obvious two omissions, in my opinion. Ryan or Rick? I always forget.
Ryan McLeod.
Pardon?
Merkley,
yeah.
Ryan Merkley? Oh, Ryan Merkley.
Ryan
yeah,
Merkley. Yeah. Ryan Merkley is the big omission here. Big talking point is that, you don't want to bring in a guy with attitude problems, but at the same time, he's probably one of the most talented defensemen in juniors right now.
Is it Nick Merkley or Ryan Merkley?
They're brothers. Fucking, I don't know. Like, it's the one drafted by San Jose. That's one I'm trying to talk about.
Yeah, all right. Well, just Merkley. Go.
Oh, let's just go with Merkley, yeah. Merkley has a lot of talent. He's definitely available to be, like, the guy to come in and, like, do well. And it's almost frustrating because, I just wish Team Canada would be less of an old boys club. And on the topic of old boys club, like, number 2 in WHL scoring right now is Trey Fix Wolonski. So the longest time there's been a complaint with Hockey Canada for constantly calling in players in for training camp, not based upon how they're playing right now, but instead based upon, their draft pedigree as well as how they're playing right now. And the obvious omission in Trey Fix-Wolonski is that he is second in WHL scoring at the age of 19, which is pretty good. 61 points in 31 games. That's nearly 2 points a game for the WHL, where scoring is generally a little bit lower. And you add to all of that, and you go like, oh, he's a 7th round draft pick last year. And honestly, the only thing I go to is perhaps the only reason he wasn't called was because, he's a low draft pedigree. Because, yes, he is short. He's 5'7". He's 188 pounds. But this is the juniors, where physicality isn't the end-all, be-all. Skill has a huge part to do with this.
But that's been a reoccurring thing the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years with Hockey Canada for the World Juniors, that they value size more than anything in terms of certain players, and it's the dumbest shit.
Like, even the fucking NHL has evolved past that.
Well, look at the Americans. The last couple of years, they've had DeBrincat and Kyler Yamamoto absolutely tear it up for them, and they're same size as Merkley, or same size as Fix-Wolonski.
Yeah, they are.
Like,
some of them are even shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that there's still this prejudice against shorter players when it's very clear the NHL is moving towards a speed-related game and skill-related game where the players that are good in that sense are players like Fix-Wolonski and Yamamoto and DeBrincat, and we see them have success at the World Juniors. Like, yeah, you have you guys with size like Puljujarvi and Lion A, and I remember Tyler Myers very distinctly being talked about as huge. And you have all these guys that are very good and big. And Evan Bouchard is going to...
Sorry, Adam, you're cutting out on us.
Adam?
Size, but that plays to his... The game that...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. How much of that did you guys get?
Pretty much none of that. Yeah, you're lagging again. So one stat I had to clarify is I wasn't actually aware of this. So I was going off of, he's doing really well right now. He should be considered. No, fucking, he's not just doing well. He is second in all of CHL scoring. The highest, like the only player that's higher than him in, I can't pull it up right now because this site sucks. Brett Leeson is the only player higher with 1 point. Then in the OHL, the highest scorer is Morgan Frost with 58 points. In the Q, you have Peter Abodano, I don't really know their names, with 55 points. Fucking Joseph Veleno got called for trading camp with 51.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe Veleno's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
So is Griffin
it
Reinhardt.
Literally comes down to the first round versus seventh round thing, and it is infuriating.
Yeah, Hockey Canada. Well, even like you look at the last Olympics Canada participated in, because I'm saying that 2018 was not one we participated in. And you have Ryan Kunitz, who is already over the hill, playing with Crosby, and Crosby dragged him through the playoffs, or through the Olympics.
Yeah, that 2014 one, he did not deserve to be there.
PK Subban
2010, I can make the argument, but 2014, no.
Yeah, PK Subban wasn't on the 2014 team, and it's like he was a better defenseman than a couple of guys on there. I guarantee Vlasic will be on the next team when he shouldn't be. Like it's Hockey Canada has this pervasive old boys club that is just ridiculous. And they're gonna get, if they keep going this way, the juniors haven't been as competitive as they have been in the past, and whether or not that's goaltending or the team itself is up for debate. But part of it is they're leaving these players that are producing an insane amount of points at home while other countries are bringing them. Finland, Sweden, Russia, and USA have made massive jumps on Canada in the last about 5 years, but they're playing players that don't necessarily fit in this box of what you want a hockey player to be anymore, but they have all these different aspects of skill and speed and ability, and they're bringing their best players. And Canada doesn't seem to do that, which is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, you immediately look at freaking over here in the USA team. I think honestly, the best team to look at in terms of not giving a shit about like size or anything is freaking the USA team. Sean Dougal is 5'3". Still got. Is he really? He's 5'3".
That's
5'3".
Yeah.
How tall are you, Arun?
I'm 5'4".
See, I'm 5'6". Dude's small.
I am taller than this player.
Dude's small.
Yeah.
Like small. That's
he's
not like
he's still got the invite.
Tiny.
He's playing out of University of Wisconsin in the Big Ten.
Good
I don't know what his stats are exactly. Perhaps
it
just simply comes down to the fact that he's really playing really freaking well right now. And fundamentally speaking, like, that's all that matters. He played in the U18 World Championships with 9 points in 7 games and 1 gold medal. So even as the international experience, they're calling him purely based upon pedigree at this point.
How do you spell his last
name?
Not
pedigree, but like skill. Dhoooghe.
That's not how I expected that to go.
No.
Dhoo.
I was like, who is this guy? Damn
Sorry, Doog. I added an L by accident.
Sean Duke, 5'3".
He is 2019 draft eligible. He'll be one of those players that ends up going in like the 6th or the 7th round. People will go like, oh, he's too short to play. And like years later, people will go, why the fuck would we draft him?
University of Wisconsin.
I'm trying to find how many points he has and I can't find it.
I'll look it up then.
He's got a hockey DB page. He's got 12 points in 17 games with the University of Wisconsin. So
yeah, it's also that level of play. It's not earth shattering or anything like that, but
no, he might not make the team. But the fact that he got invited to the camp and not just overlooked is great. Yeah,
that is significant.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. I mean, Team Canada needs to just bring their best players, and they don't do that. You're right.
They just don't, which is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, like like Tyler Benson I don't know what he's at, but he's been playing well. Cody McLeod's been playing, Ryan McLeod's been playing well, and neither of them got an invite. Let's see where Tyler Benson's at right now. Benson's in the AHL. 16 points in 19 games. He's actually playing pretty well, and he's not dead, which is good.
He fits the U18, U21 category. He should be allowed to play. Tyler Benson, 16 points, 19 games.
I think the juniors have a stipulation.
There's no way in all hell the Oilers will deny Tyler Benson the opportunity, like to loan Tyler Benson. They won't. They'll say go, 100%.
Stipulation where if you're in the AHL, you can't play on a team. I don't know.
No, it's once you turn here, it's the World Juniors is kind of weird. So let's say his birthday is March 15th, 1998. Mm-hmm. If he was born on December 31st, 1997, he could play. If he was born January 1st, 1998, he could not play in World Juniors.
That's the moment you're born in 98. That's a weird way to do it.
So he can't play?
Cannot play.
Benson can't.
That's our bad then. That's our bad.
So there's Ryan McLeod. I think he's been okay.
Yeah, I had it literally a second ago. I can't remember.
But like I'm just infuriated by the fact. And Trey Fix-Wolonsky plays for the Edmonton Oil Kings. It would have been nice to see like an Oil King there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's one of the main reasons the Oil Kings are good this season. Probably the biggest reason why the Oil Kings are decent this season.
Biggest reason. Yeah.
Ron McLeod has 29 points in 25 games playing for the Steelheads, who are not a good team.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty good. The Steelheads are garbage this year, if memory serves. So
yeah, McLeod should have gotten the call out. Mind you, it's not even that McLeod is playing well in the CHL. When he had the brief stint of games with the Oil Club, people were legitimately thinking like maybe he deserves to be here past the 9 games. Obviously, he didn't even make it past 1, but Yeah.
This is Ryan McLeod's only shot to get to the World Juniors too, so he'll be too old next year.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Oh, it's one of those things that again, Hockey Canada doesn't make a lot of sense. I know a lot of what they base on who they're bringing is what they see at camp over the summer. So if you don't get invited to the summer camp, you have a significantly less chance of being invited to their actual training camp. Because what they do a lot of evaluation there, and they go, okay, well, these players will be good. They track them, and they go, yeah, they're playing well enough. And I think I don't. This is complete assumptions. I think Hockey Canada probably looks for chemistry in the summer, and then goes, yeah, these guys played well enough together, and they're playing well enough now, so we'll stick them on a line together. And they'll produce they'll produce chemistry when they're at the World Juniors. And I don't know if that's a great way to go about it, but it seems like that's what they do.
I mean, some of the better chemistries that have been developed have been line mates that have been together for the longest time, right? So there is some basis on experience there, but that's not to say I don't disagree with you, because I'm of the opinion that you always go with skill, and from there you can figure out what kind of player can fill out what kind of position.
Yeah.
Because it's a training camp. I can understand if he gets cut from the team. That makes sense to me. Cut him from the team. But you don't call him for the fucking training camp when he's the second highest scorer in the CHL? How? And Adam's like that, so.
I don't know, man.
I'm pissed off. Last topic. Is Seattle. We're having a little bit of an interruption here. I'm going to double check my internet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
That's weird.
We're okay, I think. All right, James, what were you going to say before we moved on real quick?
There we go.
No, I'm just looking at the training camp roster, and with the forwards, I'm just looking at the names here, and I can pretty much tell who's going to make the team and who's not. Velarde, Veleno, Tippett, Suzuki,
Glass,
Ethan, Lafreniere, Glass, Frost, Formanton, Delandria, Bowers.
Bouchard.
Yeah, those are just the forwards. But on the defense, there's Bouchard, Dobson, Smith, Who else? Joseph McIsaac. I don't know. Like I can see how the team is probably going to shake out already. I would hate to go to those camps and get cut. Oh God. All right. Anyway, last topic.
Who's our goalie call-ups, by the way? I don't actually remember this.
Our goalie call-ups?
Yeah.
Al Montoya and
No.
Sorry.
Sorry. For the training camp.
Michael
DiPietro, who's a Vancouver draft pick, Ian Scott, who's a Toronto draft pick, and Matthew Villalta, who's an LA draft pick.
When's the last time we've had a goalie prospect?
Yeah, Ian Scott. Holy shit, Ian Scott. What the shit? I'm surprised they didn't call more, goalies from the WHL. I'm looking at this goals against average, and it's just nuts. Prince Albert Raiders, 1.62 goals against average, .942 save percentage. Trent Miller, next lowest one, 1.66 goals against average, .941 save percentage.
There was an Edmonton goalie.
No, Edmonton's ass right now for goaltending. That's a big reason why they're not playing well. Or Edmonton born goalie or Edmonton prospect?
Edmonton prospect.
Olivier Rodriguez, right?
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's second in the queue right now with 2.39. But nowhere in the vicinity for a good save percentage, so I can understand why he didn't get called.
Q has higher scoring, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can say higher scoring, but the higher scorers are in the WHL right now.
Yeah, true. Anyway, moving on to Seattle. Seattle has an expansion team. So 2021 season, under summer will be the expansion draft. Name has yet to be determined, although I do like the Rain City Bitch Pigeons. I think that's going to be my go-to for their team. But I think the running four names they have right now are the Salmon, the Sockeyes, the Totems, and the Kraken.
I hope they don't call them the Totems.
Ideas. I don't like any of those except the Kraken.
I don't like Kraken either. I like
Salmon's
stupid. Or Sockeyes. Yes. I like those.
Sockeyes isn't half bad. The Salmons are just stupid. The Totems is dumb.
They're delicious though, dude.
Pretty cool. I like smoked salmon. I don't want to have salmon be an NHL team. Oh, who do you follow? Oh, the Seattle Salmon. Like, this sounds like an AHL team. You know, the AHL team always have really stupid names.
That sounds like an ECHL team that existed for 2 years back in the 70s.
Yeah, it really does. So, I'd much rather prefer if they went with the Kraken. I like that name. I think you can make a six jersey out of it. You can have like a Cthulhu type design, make it green and white, fits in with Seattle. Like it's. Let's be real. Seattle's gonna sell out. If you haven't been to Seattle, it's an amazing city. I love it. But
and they just lost their basketball team too.
Years ago.
Oh yeah, years ago.
But the bringing back the NHL team means the NBA will also come back. Seattle's a big city, and the Seahawks are gods in Seattle. Mm-hmm. So bringing an NHL team, and hopefully they can have a similar sort of impact that Vegas did. Because now the Raiders are shit. When they go to Vegas, they're not going to do well. Because the Raiders have abandoned their fan base. They've abandoned their team. Their team is now awful. The Knights will, I still think, yeah. So the Oakland Raiders moving to Vegas next year. Mm-hmm. They will not get the attendance that they're hoping for. They won't. Which is good for the NHL because it means they've already won the Vegas market for the next little bit.
And Vegas Golden Knights are in a playoff position.
Yep, and so in Seattle, this is a team built for success. Now it's going to depend heavily on who the GM is, how they build a team, and if they can do anything to replicate what Vegas did. And Vegas is actually going to benefit from this too because they don't get any players chosen from their team, and they can always take on extra cap and extra players from other teams that just want to make sure they don't lose other players, so they can gain trade draft picks. So they can gain draft picks and extra players via this as well. So this is good for them. But in terms of the Oilers, we only have 4 players signed to deals into that year.
He's cut off.
Yeah.
Robot Adam returns.
5
Okay, we lost you at 4 players.
Yeah. So it's Clefbaum, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Larson. Sorry.
I'll just look at cap friendly.
Lucic,
Alright,
not
yeah.
Lucic.
You have to assume that Newt will be re-signed, so take him. And then just depends on a few other things. I don't know. It depends on who else.
They're joining in the 2021 season, right?
Yeah. So it'd be like Yamamoto will have to be re-signed and protected. Puljujarvi would have to be re-signed and protected. Bouchard would be fine. Benson would have to be protected. Caleb or Jones and Baird have to be protected. Nurse, Clefbaum. Well, Clefbaum will be already on a contract. Larson, and then whoever else you want to add to that list. Lucic may not be around by that point, but we have to protect him because of the NMC. If he's still playing.
And there is a prevailing topic for some bizarre fucking reason that, like, hey, if we ask Lucic nicely, he might waive the NMC. Literally, the only player that waived the NMC was fucking Fleury. And the only reason he did that was because he was nuts.
He loves Pittsburgh, and he knew he wasn't gonna be the starter anymore.
Yeah, and what a fuck up Pittsburgh made there.
Worked pretty well for him, yeah.
Right? It's just I don't know, dude. Anyway, like Clefbaum signed, like you said, McDavid is signed, Draisaitl signed, Lucic is signed, but among the players that need to be re-signed is Hopkins, Puljujarvi, I'm not even gonna look at the big bad names.
Yamamoto,
Chris Russell, Yamamoto, Adam Larson, Darnell Nurse, Matt Benning,
Caleb Jones,
Cam Talbot, Mikko Koskinen, depending on who we go forward with. Sekera is also done by that point, and I'm assuming no longer going to be playing in the NHL. Mantha, I guess? I don't know. Yeah, but among the juniors, Tyler Benson, he will be an RFA by that point. Yamamoto will be an RFA by that point.
McLeod.
McLeod is?
Rodriguez.
I'm not sure McLeod is, dude. I actually don't
I think McLeod.
Oh, no, McLeod was drafted last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's fine. He's fine. Bouchard and him will be automatically protected. Which, by the way, something I just remembered I wanted to mention. A big reason that came out was a story that Bouchard actually got sent to the AHL. Chiarelli wanted to keep Bouchard in the NHL for the season. Todd McClellan benched Bouchard because Chiarelli wanted to keep playing him, and kept benching him to the point where Chiarelli said, "Fuck it, I'll just send him down." So Todd McClellan saved us from Bouchard potentially having been protected in the draft.
Praise Todd.
Not only that, you saved his fucking development.
Stupidest fucking shit.
Rookie defensemen get feasted upon by forwards for all their confidence.
Oh
in
my
the
God.
NHL, it happens constantly.
Sending Bouchard back, it's like circles around to what you said. Like, do the obvious thing. Don't fucking overthink it. He's not ready. Send him back. It's just one season. Like, whatever.
If you have to debate, do the smart thing.
Mm-hmm. You'd think that it's obvious, but I guess not.
Apparently not. I don't know. Just so that one blew my mind. But yeah, so the good news is Evan Bouchard will have to be protected. Now, I think this seems to be a topic we'll have to readdress, obviously much closer to, like, this summer we'll change a few things, and the summer after will definitely impact a lot. But moving forward, it'll be one goalie. It could be either Talbot or Koskinen, and I don't think it'll be Talbot.
At that point, no.
Just because he's a couple years off, he's already 30. Darnell Nurse should still.
Koskinen is 30 as well, though. I mean, I don't think it'll be either of them.
Yeah.
I hope Darnell Nurse will find the solution, but I don't know.
Yeah, Nurse and Larson should be resigned. You got Yamamoto
at this point,
and or Puljujarvi.
At this point, fundamentally speaking, if that man hands out another fucking NMC this offseason,
we're screwed.
We are screwed.
We're gonna lose someone big. That's just like if he that's just how it's gonna work. If he gives another NMC NTC out to somebody in that 2021 season, we're going to lose somebody big. As it is, the Caps will be screwed. The Leafs will be screwed. There's a few teams you can look at going, wow, they're gonna lose somebody. There's a chance the Leafs could lose Jake Gardiner at this rate.
I'm pretty sure their fans will be happy to lose Jake Gardiner.
I think he's just going to be lost because of cap constraints anyway.
Yeah. So the Oilers, I mean, our cap's not looking good, but we have a lot of contracts that clear out this season and next.
Yeah. I think, like with Jake Gardiner, though, I mean, hold up. They got Nylander. That's good. Nylander's a supporting piece, though.
They still have to sign Matthews and Marner.
They need Matthews and Marner to be signed, exactly. And they've still got Patrick Marleau on the books for next year as well, which...
The next 5 years, isn't it? Something like
no,
that?
it's just this year and next.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the end of the world, but I mean, that 1 year where it overlaps with Matthews and Marner, it's
going to be detrimental. You think, for me, for the Oilers, the concerning thing now is that we're at a juncture where we're in cap hell, but we're in a cap hell that can still be saved if you're smart the next 2 off seasons. And for the love of God, do not trust Shirley enough to do it.
Yeah,
I just don't. And so, the next 2 years, much like 3 years ago, could impact this team's future for the next 8 years. You have 7 more years of Connor McDavid after this season. If you fuck up this offseason and the next offseason badly enough that we lose some major pieces and get sent back 3 or 4 years, McDavid could potentially not want to be here anymore because they'll make the playoffs once, maybe twice in the total of the 10 years they'll play here.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a juncture where this team needs to do well in the next 2 years, and it needs to be smart about the contracts giving out in the next 2 years. And if it doesn't do that, we could be in serious long-term trouble.
I mean, next year alone, we're going to be in some big shit. Cap's probably go up to 83 million. We have 10 players to sign and 13 million to work with. And among the players to sign is both of our fucking goaltenders, half of our defensemen, and a third of our forwards.
We're in cap hell, but improperly managed cap hell is going to fuck us hard. Like porn star level anal no lube levels of fucked.
Yeah. Tell me more.
All right. We're good then?
Big black dicks, tiny blonde, that whole thing. We're the tiny blonde.
All right. On that note.
On the tiny blonde note, and what I'm going to do later tonight.
I'm going to Calgary. Bye-bye. I'm hitting the road.
James is abandoning the Edmonton faithful for a day.
I'm Calgary for a day. Yes.
I'll be back in Edmonton next week, so
yeah. And we should be back to our bi-weekly schedule. Apologies for the tri-weekly kind of thing. But that's all on me. I've been if anyone doesn't or cares, I've been on the road for a month and a half now, so a little bit hard to do podcasts on the road. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us today. This has been myself, Arunan, otherwise known as Arunatic. With me today was Sweet, otherwise known as Sweet44722 on Reddit, otherwise known as Adam, and James, otherwise known as Paul-McCartney- on Reddit. Thank you very much for joining us today. Please do like, comment, subscribe. If you disagree with us, do let us know, and we'll respond to you. Thank you. See you.